all right? I then bring my hand across, bring your leg just a little bit. Okay. So he should be relaxed. If he is contracting the muscle, you're not going to be able to mobilize very well. So get them to relax. It's not a football, so you don't want to squeeze the head and rotate it. You got to keep it nice and relaxed. Let him relax his head right into the elbow area. Take your middle phalanx, and you're going to go right over the spinous process. So if you need to flex them forward to find the area, go ahead and do that. All right, but then bring them into a neutral position. Take up the slack, and you're going to hook your middle phalanx is right underneath that spinous process. Okay? A lot of people are going to come over to the side. You can do unilateral if that's what you're trying to do. But right now, to get this, go central because it's much easier. All right? So I'm going to take up the slack here. You'll see that I'm going to cover about 2/3 of my pinky with my thenar eminence, and I'm going to find his end range. All right? And then I just back off, mid to end range. How does that feel?
Nice.
See, I taught him well. So it's mid to end range, nice and easy. If you see this kind of a thing, this on-off, not right. That means you're going in the beginning range, all right? You really got to take up the slack, find that end range, and mid to end range. Nice, easy oscillations. Then you can go down a level. Nice, easy oscillations. You can scratch his back, too, if that gets him to relax. All right, and then you always give him the pat when you're done. So you want to start, just so that you can get a good idea, start up a little bit higher, flex them a little bit, get your hand placement, and start mobilizing. I'll come around, I'll check all of you. If you have questions, raise your hand, I'll get there. The spinous process actually projects down, right? So if you are mobilizing on the transverse process, you got to make sure you're in the right level. A lot of us use the spinous process to find out where we are, but if you look on the spine, you're about 2 fingers over and 2 fingers up to get to the actual transverse process of that segment. Remember that when you're mobilizing, because remember we talked about if you don't get good results, you might be on the wrong spinal segment. This is a common one that happens. So you want to find your correct landmarks, and even at that, do I know that I'm exactly there? Probably not. That's why you need to go up or down a level before you give up. Okay? All right. So that you can see, I'm going to show you something incorrect, but I'll tell you how to correct it. You don't want to have a flexed wrist. All right? So that you can see, I'm just going to show you my hand placement here. You should mobilize in one unit. So you want to have your wrist and your forearm as one unit so that you can mobilize. Right.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know if you have another one after
go ahead and check.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. You want to be able to mobilize as one unit, and it's this again. It's this arm that's doing the mobilization. The upper hand is really not doing much except for. Do you mind taking your glasses off so I don't squish your head? It's keeping the upper segments as stable as possible. All right. This is called a reverse nag because what you're trying to do is stabilize superior segment, mobilize inferior segment, okay? So he's going to rest his head again in the same position. Now this one I am actually facing the shoulder. So before I had you hip to shoulder, now we're facing. So you're going to use your sternum or your gut, or as Brian says, your orthopedic pouch, to stabilize them at the shoulder, all right? Hand placement is middle phalanx and thumb pad. All right, my elbow is going to be dropped below the segment that I want to mobilize. The reason is what is the degree of angles in the thoracic spine? 60, 65, around that range, right? So you want to be able to guide your direction of force at that 65-degree angle. If you use their eyes, it doesn't matter where you are in the spine. If you use their eyes, you usually get the right treatment plane. Okay, so it's important to have them in a good seated position. Don't let them flex forward. You got to get them in a good seated position, but comfortable. You can modify some things, which I'll show you after. It's not a pure Mulligan technique, but sometimes you get these real big people that you really need to do this technique and you can't get around. So I'll show you how to modify that. But so the elbow's dropped. You're on your segments that you need to mobilize. All right, in the direction of force, again, mid to end range, tough area to mobilize. Like I said, if you're talking and doing it, you're probably not doing it right. You're going to find the end range, and then you're going to mobilize mid to end range in this direction. All right? You ready? This one feels good. Okay, so I'm here, and I'm here. Contact points are here. All right? I'm going to find his end range as I come up here, and then I mobilize. you get a good ab workout on this one. It's a little bit more aggressive than the other ones, and you're going to see a lot of skin movement, so you really got to get the end range and then mobilize, all right? Does that feel all right?
Real good. You can go one segment down too if you want.
This is what they'll say, too. Right there? All right, and you mobilize. Now, the other thing that's hard to do is keep this arm relaxed. You will definitely start to do this. All right? Questions on that? Go ahead and try to do 3 sets of 10 on each segment here. All right. You need to correct, or you're going to beat up yourself. First of all, your placement hand here, a lot of you are pronating your hand. So when you're in here and you're mobilizing, you're just mobilizing your first finger, all right? You really have to supinate the hand to get one unit this way. This way I can't mobilize that first joint. This way I'm just beating the heck out of that, all right? So you're going to find that you have a lot of problems with that finger if you do that, all right? So you want to make sure. The other thing that I'm seeing is, remember, you got to pay attention to what level you're on. If you're like this, you're mobilizing two different, you're working rotation really. All right? So you want to make sure that your hands are on the same level. All right? You can, we're doing these for central. You can do unilateral. Say somebody's stuck on one side and they hurt with rotation. You can apply more pressure on one side, depending on your eval, what you're finding. You can either use the first finger, the middle phalanx, as the mobilizing segment. So I would have my same exact placement here, but if I needed to mobilize on the right side, that's where my pressure will be. If I need to mobilize on the left side, I can use my thumb. So you can do a unilateral in this, all right? I would get this central down first before you start trying to do unilaterals, all right? Questions on this? One's hard, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Any questions?
This is your reverse now.
Can you show us different variations of hands?
Can I show you
I have a
what?
hard time fit this.
You have a hard.
This one's underneath here.
You want me to show you where I place them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a tendency to go in this way. If you go in this way and just relax your fingers, that's where they should be. It's just that what you do is you come in at them like this because it's easier. You're like in a fist. But if you just go from here and relax the fingers, then it's not a problem.
Okay. All right.
You find that a lot.
Yeah, I was doing that.
The other thing you can do is, like I said, you can always use a sponge. It's hard when you're first trying to find out the segment that you're on. But you can go through a sponge, and this also helps to grab the skin. So if you find that you need to use this or somebody's really sensitive, then you can use this. It'll grab the skin and it'll buff you a little bit. Good?
This is called the
Reverse snag.
reverse snag.
Yep, because remember you're trying to stabilize superior